So those are two different signs, it looks like, right? Yes. The sign that gutter is doing, how does that, can you explain what that sign means? It's the M and the P, so that's how they throw it up. That's one way. And then it's the big M, and then it's like this. And the hand sign that you just did, like this, why does that reference Mmp? That's just what I was taught. That's the mold. That's how we throw it up. One of the ways to identify a mobster. So all three of those different hand signs reference Mmp. Yes. And I'm showing you Government's Exhibit IC-93. And who are we looking at here? Gutter and Nizzy. And can you read what it says right here? Mafioso, we shagging. And is that a reference to Mmp? As far as mafioso, yes. I'm showing you Government's Exhibit SM-3, page 11, which has previously come into evidence as business records for Allende de Leon's Facebook account. And who are we looking at here? That's Murda. And is he the same person you said brought you into Mmp? Yes. And what was his territory? What territory did he operate in? Liberty Heights and Gwen Oak. Does Mmp have rules? Are there rules of the gang? Yeah, basically, just ride for your brother. Never cooperate with law enforcement. And never steal. Never lie. Never hate, you know. What was the first rule you said? Always ride for your brother. And what does it mean to ride for your brother? Ride, just to have their back. If anything ever happens, always have their back. So if your brother is the victim of a shooting or a murder, what are you required to do? To retaliate. Is there a rule about the payment of dues? Yes, but it wasn't implemented strongly till Gata was locked up. And can you explain that a little bit? When dues were implemented, what would they be used for? To send homies money in jail, pay for lawyers, pay for bail, buy guns. Everybody put in, buy drugs, and we all break it down and flip the money. But they weren't rigidly implemented. Is that what you're saying? No, not all the time. Just when certain situations was happening. Got you. Are there sanctions for violating the rules of Mmp? Yes, and they vary depending on the severity of your violation. Can you explain that? What are the different types of sanctions? It could be anything from getting beat up to getting killed to getting somebody called the hot dog where they slice your arm until the keloid's up, and that's your sanction. Let me back up. You mentioned that one of the rules of the gang is that you should never cooperate with law enforcement, right? Yes. And what is the punishment for cooperating with law enforcement? Death. So what does it mean that you're here testifying today? I'm a dead man walking. What's an example of something that might be punished by a beating or a hot dog? Maybe not paying dues when they are implemented, stealing. It was a particular time where some guns came up missing from one of the homegirls' house, and Gata thought that her sons, stole the guns that she was trying to protect her son, and she kept protecting him, saying he ain't do it, and she ended up getting hot dog. So it was either accept the sanction or die. So she ended up getting a hot dog, took her to the hospital, and she got a keloid. Did you witness her get that sanction? Yes. And who gave her that sanction? Gata. Is there Mmp Gang paperwork that lays out the history and rules of the gang? Yes. And have you read it? Yes. Who gave it to you? Gata. I'm going to walk up and show you for identification only Government's Exhibit GP-2A. Do you recognize that document? Yes. What is it? This is the paperwork. Basically, the backstory on the set of how it got started, why it was started, and what it was supposed to stand for as the mob. And have you looked at it before coming in here today? Yes. And was this one of the documents you read when you came home from prison in 2012? Yes, in 2012. This is what I was given up at Windsor Mill in Forest Park. I sat in the apartment parking lot and read it for almost about an hour. And for identification purposes, can you just tell us what the first words on the first page are? My all family I am. The New World Order is the reconstruction of our family. Did MMP hold gang meetings? Yes. Were they held regularly or only as needed? As needed. And what were some of the locations where gang meetings were held? We had meetings in one of Gatter's houses when he used to live on Seton Park in the basement. We met at the cemetery and whatnot to discuss gang dues and when they should be paid and stuff like that. But for the most part, as far as Wednesday Mill and Forest Park, everybody's around each other every day. So when something goes on, we just talk about it. Was it important to keep one another apprised of what was going on in the gang? Yes. How could you tell whether someone else was a member of MMP? Well, basically by your lingo, was smiling. Instead of saying, what's up, we say, smiling. Are there MMP tattoos? Yes. And can you give us some examples of MMP tattoos? The M with the badge, lightning bolts, just the actual MMP spelled out was already tatted on me. I'm going to show you Government's Exhibit IND-84. Do you know who that is? Easy. And what's the tattoo that he has under his eye? A lightning bolt. And what does the lightning bolt signify for MMP? Daddy mobbing. I'm showing you Government's Exhibit IND-3. And who is this? That's Gotta. And does he have MMP tattoos? He got that M on his face. He got the lightning bolt on his right cheek. I'm showing you Government's Exhibit IND-58. And who is that? That's Menace. Was he a member of MMP? Yes. And does he have an MMP tattoo? Yeah. He got the M in the middle of his face. What territory did he operate in? Wednesday Mill and Forest Park. Did he have a rank in the gang? Do you know? I think he was a top capo. I'm showing you Government's Exhibit IC-110. And what are we looking at here? That's Gotta and Gambino. And is that an M tattoo on Gambino's back? Yes. And I'm showing you Government's Exhibit IC-9. Do you know who that is? That's Gotta. And do you see at the top the tattoo on the back of his neck that says ABK? Yes. What does ABK stand for? Anybody killer. I believe you mentioned a minute ago, you do have MMP tattoos. Is that right? Yes. And what MMP tattoos do you have? I got Mafia on my stomach and I got MMP on my right leg. Are there MMP colors? Burgundy. And are there MMP Gang Handshakes? Gang Handshakes. Handshakes. Oh, handshakes. Yes. Can you describe what the MMP handshakes are? The MMP handshakes is basically just the pinky. You break it down, you lock with the other pinky, and you kind of like a B or a P. And that's basically the handshake as a mobster. And the 5200 boys, the handshake is just the 5 deuce where you just go like this and then come back and lock the 2 fingers, 52.